What's up everyone, welcome to this video, and in this one I want to share how I went from being a burnt out agency owner just doing everything myself to scaling to 7 figures in our creative agency multiple years in a row. And what our agency focuses on is really just creative and social media. So creating content, a lot of short form video content for people, as well as some graphic design and also the actual execution from a social media perspective. So what I want to do is I want to share 4 things that really helped me go from that burnt out, just me doing everything, to being able to scale to that 7 figures multiple years in a row and keeping us there. So if you're an agency owner watching this and you want to get to that 7-figure mark, these 4 things will be super valuable for you. And if you are an agency owner and you're watching this, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. I try to post at least 1 time a week and shamelessly give everything away to teach you how you can do the exact same thing that I've been able to achieve, as well as avoid some of the mistakes that I was making when I was scaling and growing. So without further ado, let's get into it. Really, the origin story of our agency called Strategic was, I was doing a little bit of creative for myself. I was building my brand, and what happened was people kept asking me for help. So I started helping them. It wasn't like I woke up one day and I was like, oh, I want to start an agency. I want to do it. I had a high value skill. I had high value skills that people wanted. So started to help people. So this quickly grew to me helping too many people, and I was literally burned out, lost relationships, lost friendships, was literally burning at both ends, trying to keep up with everything and do it well for our clients. And ultimately, while it was super profitable and I was super busy, it was not the lifestyle that I wanted. And it really just kind of kept me on a hamster wheel. And frankly, I was just a glorified contractor for a lot of different people. I wasn't actually an agency owner. I was literally just working for them, and it was just me. So really the first thing that I did and learned that helped me scale to that 7-figure mark was learning to delegate. And what I mean by delegating is simply hiring and getting tasks off my plate. So I remember when we were first starting to hire, when I was needing to hire somebody, the first hire that I made was a graphic designer. I probably whipped up something that was super cringeworthy, had some cringeworthy interviews, had a cringeworthy job description. And luckily our first hire was super solid and was a self-starter. And I didn't really need to spend too much time training them, but frankly, I got super lucky. But eventually was able to delegate 10, 20, 40 hours a week of graphic design to the graphic designer, which then freed up 10, 20, 40 hours of my time so that I could focus on other income producing activities that actually drove the business forward. And really, as we continued to grow, as the business continued to grow, and I got more busy doing other work like video or video editing or social media management, I still had that mindset of, okay, when I get busy in this realm, I'm going to start to delegate. Okay, I need to find a videographer that can help me out with shooting so I'm not doing everything. And I got in the mindset of delegation, of what can I get off of my plate rather than what can I stack on my plate. So many agency owners feel pride in going to every shoot and doing everything for the clients and think it's something to be proud of. But again, like, you're going to end up where I was, which was just a glorified contractor for a bunch of people, and you working in the business and just continuing to be on that hamster wheel. So I took the time to learn to delegate, learn to hire, learn to be effective in the interviews, learn how to create systems for people so that they can then follow the system. We've hired over 30 employees easily, and literally it's been an absolute game changer. So really my point is learn to freaking delegate. Like, don't take pride in how much you can take on. Learn the skill of delegating, learn how much capacity you can actually handle for a specific role, and get in the mindset of, okay, if I get a piece of business, what can I delegate? Not if I get a piece of business, how much time is it going to take me, and what's this going to pull me away from that actually is going to drive the business forward. Because again, the easiest way to get 10, 20, 40 hours of your day back to work on income producing activities is to hire somebody to do it. So as you're growing, as you're scaling, start to figure out how you can delegate. The second thing that I did to get us to that 7-figure mark was to dial in our offering. So I remember when we were first getting going, first starting to scale up, it was myself, Peter, Mark, and our graphic designer, and we were growing tremendously. Like, we were always on sales calls. I was cranking. I was trying to get everything done. And I remember we had a 2-bedroom apartment that me and Mark rented to literally turn into our office and commit to Strategic and commit to growing this thing. And I remember we would take sales calls, and every time on a sales call, the client would be like, hey, yeah, I think I need this, I need this, I need this. And my response would be, yes, yep, we can do that. Yep, let's do it. Sure, let's do it. Even though, like, I had to pretty much just figure it out for them. And it wasn't something that was our expertise necessarily. It was more so just me taking orders from the client because I didn't want to lose them. I wanted to get their business and I wanted to make sure that I was adding value to them and could literally just kind of be their full service person. But what happened was literally it was just myself or Mark figuring it out along the way. And it pretty much just capped us, right? Like how could we train somebody to be sort of the jack of all trades and do everything? Like you can't train an employee, you can't train a team member to be like, okay, whatever the client wants, just go figure it out and go do it. Like even though you might have the skills and the tenacity and you're a founder and you can just go figure it out, it's not a way to scale your offering. The other thing to that and the mistake in saying yes to everything is that it's not positioning you as an authority. If a client is just telling you what they need and you go to let's just say you go to a doctor and you're like, oh, I think I need this, and the doctor's like, yep. Like that's not a way to position your brand and your company as authority. So instead what we did was we created an offer that we thought would actually add value to them. And we packaged the offer and really just stuck to the couple of things that we were willing to do for the client instead of saying yes to everything. I remember we would say yes to websites, to SEO, and all this different stuff that was frankly just not scalable within or beyond myself or beyond Mark to figure out. And it was just a hassle at the end of the day. And lastly, it's just not clear and it just confuses people. If you're not clear on what you're doing and who you're serving, it's going to confuse people and people aren't going to be able to trust you or respect what you're doing is actually driving results. And again, it's just gonna frankly confuse people. So my second point is to dial in your offering. Don't be a yes man. As much as you wanna say yes to everybody because you want the income, like be disciplined in your nose, have a clear offering, have a clear service that you can package and create and then sell based off of the client's needs of the niche that you're actually serving. And you're not serving everybody of the niche that you're actually serving, and be disciplined with those boundaries. Have the offer that creates the result for the niche that you're serving and be disciplined with that. Okay, that's how you're going to be the advisor as a marketing agency and not just the order taker as the marketing agency. People are coming to you for your expertise. And if you can position your brand as that, then you will be positioned strongly and actually get results for the clients and not just be an order taker and have bad boundaries and have them be messaging you all the time. Okay, dial in the offer. And really the result of us dialing in the offer was that it was fulfillable, it was scalable, and literally this is probably what helped us get to that 7-figure mark, was having something that was scalable and replicatable. Think of your offer as a product, right? Like we always say you want to have a productized offer. So the moment that you sell it to the moment that you onboard it, that's when it goes down the conveyor belt and the product is working, the product is being made and it's fulfillable, okay? So productizing your offer is going to be key. There's so much that goes into building a good offer. And another thing that really helped us was creating a proven process and documenting it. So what happened when we did this? If this happens, what do we do? Okay, this is the offer, who does what? And we documented it so that it was trainable and fulfillable easily with the expectations that we are creating for the team to fulfill. At the end of the day, don't try and be everything to everybody. You will not be able to scale to that 7-figure mark without crazy headaches if you are not productizing your services and producting your offer and documenting a process that somebody else can follow. And side note, I do have another video on how to create an offer for short form video content creation. So I'll link that down below. The next thing that helped us hit 7 figures was creating some predictability around client acquisition. So when we were first starting, we were 100% referral, word of mouth. Like we never really knew when the next piece of business was going to come through. Kind of just relied on when somebody could refer somebody and send me a message. And what would happen is, you know, we would go a couple weeks and we wouldn't get anything and we'd be all freaked out and we'd be like, hey, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? And we'd be scrambling. So what I did was I focused on creating systems and pillars of client acquisition that we could then scale and have as levers that we can turn on and off as needed. So really the first thing that I did was hit social media hard. I became a client of the services that we were offering. I was posting. I was the #1 enthusiastic person on social media about what we were doing. I was posting and adding value to people. I was adding value to our target customers constantly over and over. I was DMing people. I was networking on Instagram with my target clientele and building those relationships. And what that provided was inbound conversations, inbound meetings, got people into the door that already knew, liked, and trust us. And it was frankly a pretty easy sell. So tip #1 is to become a client of yourself. Do what you're doing for other people for yourself. Use Instagram, don't abuse it. Organically connect with people, have conversations. And eventually what you can do is you can scale that to what's called an appointment setter, where they can be having conversations on your behalf. Second thing I did was cold outbound. So I know that every business owner is on their email. I know that emails are super easy to find for businesses that that were within our niche. And I knew that if I could just be top of mind to them and constantly be emailing them, potentially adding value, being strategic with the copy, that would drive appointments, and it did. So the two forms of cold outbound were cold SMS and cold email. So basically what I did is I had a list builder constantly building me lists of contacts that I could reach out to that were within my niche. And then I would add those to our cold email tool instantly, test the copy, play with the copy, constantly add value, constantly try to get them on sales calls, and then receive sales calls. So I had an appointment setter that was instantly monitoring it for me, getting the positive replies and setting appointments from there. So if it's just you, you can literally do this yourself and predictably get appointments from doing cold outbound. The second form of cold outbound was SMS. So again, with the same list builder, we had a list of cells that we were reaching out to. So particularly mortgage, real estate, super easy to find. We would do cold outbound to them and again, predictably get appointments with the appointment setter that was setting appointments after sending it. So you don't need an appointment setter right away, but what you do need is some form of predictability, and we really like cold outbound for that. And quick side note, I do have a full YouTube video breaking down the exact process on cold email, so be sure to check that out as well if you're interested. And then the last thing, which is pretty untraditional, which a lot of people don't talk about, is I knew I needed to get in front of as many people as possible within my niche. And my niche at that time was real estate agents. So I was pressing hard to do speaking engagements. I was leveraging our current clients and saying, hey, how can I add value to a big group of people? How can I add value to your clients or people that work at your company, and offer to do lunch and learns, did presentations for people, just built my brand that would drive to the social funnel. And I got people excited about the opportunities that we were doing, about how they need to be leveraging video and leveraging social media. And that literally led to predictable inbound business, as well as the brand being built. And then they see the content and they're pretty easy to set from there. The fourth thing, and arguably the most important thing that allowed us to hit 7 figures, was becoming a leader. Okay, there's a ton to this, but the reality is this. One, you will never hit 7 figures by yourself without going crazy in an agency. 2, you're not going to be able to hit 7 figures if you're not empowering others and becoming a leader. 3, you're not going to be able to hit 7 figures if you're not seeing your agency, seeing your company as a company, and ultimately treating it like one with a proper leadership structure. And lastly, you're not going to hit 7 figures if you're not becoming a leader worth following, and a leader that you would want to follow that runs a 7-figure agency. So practically what I did was hire a coach to help me become the leader that I needed to be for the company that I was looking to build. As we were scaling and building, we started to get more and more problems, more money, more problems, right? So as we started to have those problems, it was a different sort of skill set that we needed in order to help solve those, which required leadership. So myself, Mark, and Peter were pretty much the leaders of the organization because they were there longest, they were bought in, they were excited about it. And I knew that I needed to invest in them, build a leadership team, and empower them to be on the mission of the company and be included in the mission of the company. So what this meant was creating an identity of the company, creating core values, creating a vision, creating a mission, getting them bought into where we're going, getting them involved into where we're going, and being intentional with feeding into them, because eventually I knew that they were going to have teams under them that they were also going to need to feed into. I literally brought them alongside me versus trying to play that whole title game and seeing myself as superior, seeing myself as this CEO, and it was the Austin show and everything that I said had to go. That's not the case at all. That is not leadership whatsoever. I remember Peter, Mark, and I literally rented a cabin. We read a book called Traction. I printed off all of these worksheets that we could go through to help create the identity of Braintegic together. This was super empowering to them. They felt super bought in. They felt excited about the vision of the company. And ultimately, it took a lot of weight off of my shoulder because I knew it was not just me that was bearing all of the responsibility. It was us that were driving the responsibility of the company and the vision of the company, and responsible for that ultimately. The reality is this: as you grow, as you scale, as you work less in the business and more on the business, your most important role becomes less about delivering for the client necessarily, but it's delivering for your team. It's empowering your team, because it's your team that is going to be delivering for the clients. So if you can empower them, if you can get them excited about delivering for the clients, then that's how you're going to build a company beyond yourself. All right, so just to recap, 1 is learning to delegate. Don't try to do everything on your own. 2 is dialing in your offer. Create something that's predictable, create a productized offer, something that is scalable and repeatable that can be transferred down the line as you grow and scale and build a team to do the work for you. 3 is creating predictable client acquisition systems that you can turn on and off or up and down as you need to and as you grow. And 4, become a leader and empower others as you grow. Thank you again for watching this. If you found value in it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you are an agency owner looking to grow and scale, please subscribe to the channel. I try to post at least once a week and add value to you and just pretty much give it all away as you scale and grow your agency. And if you're an agency owner, you're interested in getting out of that agency grind and scaling to that $50,000 to $100,000 per month mark and go from being an operator working in the business to an orchestrator working on the business, I'll leave a link down below where you can book a call with us and we can see if you are a fit. Basically, we teach off of 3 different pillars. It's the offer, creating predictability and scalability from your offer. 2, it's the growing phase, basically creating a predictable client acquisition system through cold outbound or other channels. And 3rd is the scaling, which is delegating, hiring, all that good stuff, building a team around you and setting proper expectations so that you can scale to that 7-figure mark, just like what I explained. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.